Welcome back to another Worksheet Wednesday, where we talk about the bonus from this week's episode, improve team cohesion and get player buy-in with Katie Profit of Eckerd College. Let's take a look at the worksheet. This one today is called Win or Learn. Or more specifically, you either win or you learn. This is from our competitive course where we talk about having a mastery mindset. So if you can really get your brain to think in these two responses, you're really going to grow and be able to deal with failure better. So here are some examples of how you can go through it with your players or even yourself as a coach. So our brain typically goes to the negative first. So if you're reflecting after a game, it might be easier to start with the learn. So you start with, okay, what went wrong and what can I learn from it? For example, say a player missed a ground ball between their feet. Instead of saying, don't miss that ground ball, they can say, stay low and through grounders. Simple, to the point, and that way it gets their body to do the right thing next time. Another example might be a pitcher who threw a pitch to a batter she knew she shouldn't have. So instead of just saying, don't throw hitters the balls they're going to hit out the park, she can say, refresh on the batter's weaknesses before each at bat. Easier said than done. There's a lot going on, but if you keep reminding yourself of something simple like this, then you'll remember, hey, this girl crushes an inside pitch. Let's keep it on the outside corner. Or maybe a batter had a really rough day at the plate. They went over with three just off at bats where they were tense and they were swinging at pitches they didn't like. Keep it simple, and they can tell themselves to relax in the batter's box. They can allow themselves to perform. So just like this, you can come up with a whole list of learn opportunities. And then you can switch to the fun part, which is the wins. And here are some examples. Got an RBI. Absolutely a win. We want to make sure here that we're not only focusing on outcome wins. So another example would be, didn't walk any batters today. You have more control of that. That's awesome because you're focusing on the strike zone. Another one could be, I was ready for every pitch on defense. This is a huge win in my opinion, and really hard to achieve, but when you do, you need to notice it. Even if you made a mistake on a bad hop or you didn't quite get to that ball in the outfield, if you were ready every pitch, that's a win and you need to count it. So the trick here is to get the girls to start noticing all of these little things so that they add up. If we want to truly build our confidence, we've got to draw their attention away from the negatives that really stick in our brains, the mistakes, the failures, the missed chances, and steer them instead to winning or learning. Afterwards, you need to always process with the girls. So the first time you go through this sheet, ask some questions like this. How does reframing mistakes into learning opportunities help you? Ask them what it does for them. Maybe it helps them deal with their fear of failure. Maybe it helps them just feel more confident. Like, yeah, I can do that. How about if you have a hard time coming up with wins, why do you think that is? It can be different for each person. Sometimes they're just overly focused on the negative. Sometimes they're just honestly too modest and afraid of coming across as cocky. Either way, you got to work them through that because they need to count every win. Or if they filled out this sheet for a friend, would it be easier? This gets at the topic of it being uncomfortable for us to shout our wins sometimes, and also really easy for us to beat ourselves up. So if you flip the perspective and you say, hey, you could fill this out in a second for your friend, so why isn't it easy for you? All these questions can get them thinking about their mindset and how they're approaching their evaluations after each game or even within the game. So work on this every day with your girls, every practice and game, and eventually they'll get better and better at either winning or learning. Thanks for joining us. See you guys next week.